Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Shemel Shai Basham Rakak Dash Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. I'm gonna get right into it. And the topic of this video is conspiracy theorists are generally nuts. Really? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Now, it said what I did was conspiracy theorists are high functioning, intelligent individuals that think outside the box, that are not well, there's a term, Normy Bias. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look that up. There's another term. It's the same for Normy Bias as herd mentality. So let me go into these words, because conspiracy theorists are not nuts. They're just people on a higher plane mentally than the rest of the people. Let me do this. Normy Bias. Normy Bias. What I'm going to read. Okay, I'll read this. Normy Bias is the tendency to underestimate the likelihood or impact of a negative event. Normy Bias prevents us from understanding the possibility or the seriousness of a crisis or a natural disaster. Normy bias or normality bias is a cognitive bias which leads people to disbelieve or minimize threat warnings. Consequently, individuals underestimating the likelihood of a disaster when it might affect them and its potential adverse effects. Like we as Israelites, when we go out on the highways and the byways, we tell the people that they're going into captivity. The other nations, they don't believe that. The United States is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. They don't believe that. But now a lot of them are beginning to, like the Christian community, Christian apologists, they watch all our videos because things that we've been saying for years is kind of leaning toward what we've been saying. Which of the following is an example of Normy Bias? What is an example of Normy Bias? An example of Normy Bias is when individuals underestimate the likelihood of a disaster occurring and therefore fail to adequately prepare for it. What is the one way to avoid Normy bias? Some manage to eliminate it by refusing to believe new warnings coming in and refusing to evacuate, maintaining the Normy bias, while others eliminate the dissonance by escaping the danger. Now, there was a particular building that was on fire, and when the people got to the first floor to leave the building or buildings, they were told by authorities to go back in. Everything is all right, just go back in. And they never teach you that in the fire. When you were in school, you had the fire drills. They never said stay in, it's everything's all right. If you can get out, get out. So they were telling the people, no, stay in. And some of the people said, F you, and kept doing what they were going to use in their mind. And others said, well, this guy's an authority. I'm going to stay in where it's safe. And a lot of them died in that horrific fire. That's Normy Bias. The possibility that some people may refuse to evacuate causes significant problem in disaster planning. You have these, what do you call them? Preppers, doomsday preppers. And what they are, they know that something major is going to happen in this country or whatever country you may be in, because it's all around the world. And it's mostly like patriot, Edomite types. What they do is they store a lot of food. They may have a fallout shelter. They may have weaponry. They may, practice at the shooting range, deal with certain scenarios, and see, when all hell breaks loose, they have a so-called better chance than a person that doesn't, prepare themselves. You can look up the word doomsday preppers. So doomsday preppers are conspiracy theorists, because they think something's happening. They don't trust government. A lot of them don't vote. Oh, I like this one. What is the ostrich bias? The ostrich effects, or ostrich bias, also known as the ostrich problem, is a cognitive bias. Cognitive meaning the brain. You got your mind set, that describes how people often avoid negative information, including feedback that could help them monitor their goal progress. Instead of dealing with the situation, we bury our heads in the sand, so to speak, like ostriches. It was the ostrich ock. It's talking about an ostrich ock, inside joke. So there you have it, right? Now, let me do this. I had another word in my mind. I forget what it was. So anyway, what I did was this right here is a list of conspiracy theories. I'm not going to go through all of them. Okay, this is a conspiracy right here. Nero Coeptus. Enterprise has been crowned with success. You can look it up. What is the enterprise? What is the success? The pinnacle. Novus Ordo Seclorum. New World Order. NWO. Now, the US dollar, the $1 bill, is an American US dollar, so everything on the dollar should be written in English. That's the official language of the US. But you got parts of the dollar that deal with classic or ancient Latin, Nero Coeptus, Novo Ordo Seclorum, which is a new world order. So here's a list of some of them. Black helicopters. The conspiracy theory emerged. This conspiracy theory emerged in the U.S. in the 60s. The John Birch Society. The John Birch Society is an American right-wing political advocacy group founded in '58. It is anti-communist, supports social conservatism, and is associated with ultra-conservative, radical far right-wing populist, and right-wing libertarian ideas. So this is mostly Edomites, so-called white people. So most likely like a member of a John Birch Society that follows a John Birch Society would probably vote for a Trump more so than they would vote for a Biden. That's why Biden needs the so-called black vote. Goes on to say the theory re-emerged in the 1990s during the presidency of Bill Clinton. This is when Alex Jones came. Bill Clinton came into office, I believe it was '93. Alex Jones came on the scene big in '96, and he was pushing that a lot. Was energetically promoted by writer Jim Keefe in his book Black Helicopters Over America. By the 2000s, the term black helicopters became a shorthand of the anti-government conspiracy theories that stretch the bounds of credulity, such as those espoused by military groups and a number of guests of talk shows like Glenn Beck. I should have mentioned Alex Jones. Well, you know, he's persona non grata. Chemtrails, we know what that is. A high-flying jet engines leaving a condensation trail, which is different from a chemtrail. It's chemicals in those trails. Oh, New Coke, that's a conspiracy. So you can read that. I'm not going to read all of them. This one I didn't even know about. Now you all know what I've been saying about Trump, that I strongly believe he's definitely, to me, in the spirit through the spirit, is Nero coming back. But now check this out. This is the first time I'm coming across this. Death of Nero became a conspiracy theory. In ancient times, widespread conspiracy theories were circulated pertaining to the death of the Roman Emperor Nero. There's a picture of him. And he became emperor at 16, and he supposedly killed himself, committed suicide at, what was it, 33? It was 15, 16 years later. Who committed suicide in what? In 68 AD. Some of these theories claimed that Nero had actually faked his death and was secretly still alive, but in hiding, plotting to reestablish his reign. Now wait a minute. Donald Trump, he became president, right? He ran for re-election. He failed in his re-election. You got Biden up in there. So you had the whole January 6th thing. So now his thing is to get back into office, and he's a forerunner. The number one Republican presidential candidate, which will become the nominee. They all fed they're trailing this guy in the numbers. So if they don't actually lock him up and he becomes the nominee, they're going to have to make him president. So we're going to see what's going to transpire. Now, Nero, as a conspiracy theory states, that he set himself up to die and then going to come back into power. Trump trying to come back into power. And you ain't, when did you ever hear of a president do 4 years as a Republican or Democrat, not be president for 4 years and come back and be president 4 years again? Because you're allowed it 8 years. I don't believe that's ever happened. And Trump is a controversial dude. His middle name should be Controversy. It says some of these theories claim that Nero had actually faked his death and was secretly still alive, but in hiding, plotting to reestablish his reign. And most of these stories, he was said to have fled to the east, didn't tell you where he is still influential. That's Trump. Other theories or conspiracy theories held that Nero would return from the dead to retake his throne. Many early Christians feared Nero's return to assume his vicious anti-Christian persecution. Christians was persecuted. Christians, code word for Israelites that believed in the Messiah, sporadically and usually locally throughout the Roman Empire, beginning in the 1st century AD and ending in the 4th century. Originally a polytheistic empire, and the tradition of Roman paganism and the Hellenistic religion as Christianity spread through the empire. I'm not going to read the rest. You can read the rest of it. This is why Claudius, which was the sort of the stepfather of Nero, because it was Nero's mother that set up Claudius, have him put to death. And he got put to death, and she wanted to kind of rule, if anything, through her son. And her son took. Well, it was said that he wound up killing his mother, because she wanted to rule. It says the dead to retake the throne, right? Return from the dead to retake the throne. Many early Christians feared Nero's return to resume his vicious anti-Christian persecution. The book of Revelation alludes to these conspiracy theories in its description of the slaughtered head returning to life. That's Revelation chapter 13. One of the heads was wounded unto death. So back then they were saying, you know what, Nero's going to come back. He's going to come back. He got his head chopped off. He chopped his head off, or whatever the case may be. He was wounded to the head, and he's going to come back to life. So that's a conspiracy theory. Assassination, conspiracy theory as to what really happened. Goes in the New World Order. And there was a old version of the New World Order which was out of Bavaria. Adam Weishaupt, founder of the Bavarian Illuminati, established in May 1st, 1776. So if being a conspiracy theorist is a nut, then I'm as nutty as a fruitcake. Predictive programming now. Apostle Ramlab did a video recently, a couple of hours ago, on because he watched that movie on Netflix. Everybody's talking about he mentioned predictive programming. Many theorists allege that the content of fictional media, which is movies, the news, in a process called predictive programming, are manipulated to reference planned false flags. Let's look up the word false flag. A false flag operation is an act committed with the intent of disguising the actual source of responsibility and pinning blame on another party. The term false flag originated in the 16th century as an expression meaning an international misrepresentation of someone's alliance. The term was famously, you can read the rest of that. See, the average American don't understand these words. They don't go into them. They tell you plane flew in the two buildings, y'all believe it. Technological innovations, social change, and other future events. These references are understood to be a conditioning and brainwashing tool such that the public becomes more accepting of these events than they would be otherwise. Because the majority of the American people, they're on a low level mentally. Predictive programming has been used to explain events such as the September 11 attack, the C-19 pandemic, which a lot of people say is a conspiracy theory, and has been connected with such media such as Die Hard, The Simpsons, and Contagion, which are movies, TV shows and movies. Mel Gibson, that racist ass Mel Gibson, started a movie called Conspiracy Theory, or Conspiracy Theorist, or something like that. And they made him, in the movie, they made him be portrayed as a nut, which he wasn't a nut. A crazy person. Let me see, let me give you a few more. Oh, anti-Semitism, anti-Americanism, Armenianism, anti-Catholicism, Antichrist, crisis actors. I got to go to this one. For you conspiracy buffs out there, you conspiracy nuts. Crisis actors are individuals who portray disaster victims in first responder training exercises. Conspiracy theories allege that mass shooting and similar traumatic events are actually staged, with victims and their families being portrayed by covert crisis actors. False flag operation, you can read that. (9/11) 2001 attack on United States, Sandy Hook school shooting in U.S. 2012. I'm not even going to speak on that, because you know what happened with Alex Jones. The Clintons, let me read this one. The Clintons' body count, conspiracy theory, notably advanced by Newsmax publisher Christopher Rudy, asserts that former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary Clinton have assassinated 50 or more of their associates and enemies. Such accusations have been around at least since the 90s, when a pseudo documentary film called The Clinton Chronicles, when I watched that film, you might be able to catch it on, if not YouTube, maybe Odyssey, produced by Larry Nichols, right? He was the main guy in the video. He was a whistleblower as to the things that they were supposedly doing, and he made a film, the Clinton Chronicles, and promoted by Reverend Jerry Falwell. He's dead. Accused Bill Clinton of multiple crimes, including murder. So that's a conspiracy theory. Jeffrey Epstein's death conspiracy theory, because they're saying that he really wasn't put to death. FEMA, where FEMA at? So this is a list. I'm not even gonna read all of these, man. Deep State, Trump, Biden, and Ukraine. Biden-Ukraine conspiracy theory. Let me read that one. Refers to a series of allegations that Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden coordinated efforts against anti-corruption investigation in Ukraine into the Ukrainian gas company Burisma, on whose board Hunter Biden sat. Investigations are currently ongoing. All artificial diseases. Yeah, there's always new diseases popping up, man. C-19 pandemic. They're saying that it's a conspiracy theory. Fluoridation, the fluoridation of the water, vaccines, and the list goes on and on. Extraterrestrials and UFOs. Weather and earthquake control projects. HARP. Here it is, HARP. MK Ultra. Flat Earth, which is a conspiracy theory. You got knuckleheads saying, oh, wait a minute. RFID chip. Let's see what that says. And I'm going to give you some precepts. Radio frequency identification chip, RFID, such as those implanted into pets as a means of tracking, have drawn the interest of conspiracy theorists who posit that this technology is secretly widely implanted in humans. Former White Bay, England town councillor Simon Parkers has promoted this theory, which may be related to conspiracy theories concerning vaccinations, electronic banking, and the Antichrist, meaning Revelation 13 and 16. So this is a conspiracy theory. False history. Was this one boxing? Boxing has featured in conspiracy theories such as the claim that the second Ali, okay, that the fight was fixed. But anyway, you got it. So let me give you some precepts. I typed in the word conspiracy. Conspiracy comes up 10 times. So we'll read some of them. 2 Samuel 15 verse 12, and Absalom sent for Ahithophel, which was the counselor of David, of Gilonite, the Gilonite, David's counselor. And his counsel was so powerful, it was like talking to the angels, or damn near talking to the Most High. So when Ahithophel went with Absalom, his wicked ass son, David was a little shaken up by it. Oh, he got that brother from his city, even from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices, and the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom. They were going with Absalom. Why did they go after Absalom? Because he sat out in the open for the Israelites to meet him, and he'll give them advice and counsel them. So they were saying, well, look, this Absalom should really be king and not David, because David don't love us. It said in his servants, I'm sorry, this is 2 Kings 12 verse 20, and his servants arose and made a conspiracy and slew Joash in the house of Milo, which goeth down to Selah. Now you can open it up and read the rest of it, or go up a couple of verses. 2 Kings 14 and 19. So anybody said that conspiracy theorists are generally nuts, conspiracies are mentioned in the scriptures. Now they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish, but they sent after him to Lachish and slew him there. I'm not going to open it up. You can open it up and go up a couple of verses, get more details. Second Kings 15 verse 15, and the rest of the acts of Shallum and his conspiracy which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. Chronicles is the records. Chronicles, chronos, is a Greek for time. 2 Kings 15 verse 30, and Hosea, which is the king of the northern king, and he was the last king of Israel. You know the whole story. If you want to go right into it, you go to 2 Kings 17 and 1, read the whole chapter. And Hoshea the son of Elah made a conspiracy against Pekah the son of Remaliah, and smote him and slew him and reigned in his stead. So that's how Hoshea became king in the 20th year of Jotham the son of Uzziah. 2 Kings 17 and 4. And the king of Assyria, which was Shalmaneser V, that was the title, by the way. Shalmaneser was the title. You had a Shalmaneser IV, which was his father, Shalmaneser III. You get the picture. It says, and the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to King So of Egypt, Mizraim, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison because he caught his conspiracy on this guy. He was conspiring with the king of Mizraim. So he said, I'm going to shut your ass up. Second Chronicles 25 verse 27. Now after the time that Amaziah did turn away from following Yahweh. Now this nut, Amaziah, after he killed all them Edomites, he went and worshipped their God. Which their number one premier god is Quaz. Looks just like Barry Manilow. The god of the Edomites was a god named Quaz. Looked just like Barry Manilow and Dr. Brown. So you get an idea of what an Edomite looks like. Barry Manilow would be the perfect Edomite. It says, now after the time that Amaziah did turn away from following Yahweh, they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish, but they sent to Lachish after him and slew him. So the whole story was based upon Amaziah. So what they did was they said, we got to take this bugged out nigga out. Jeremiah 11 and 9. And Yahweh said unto me, a conspiracy is found among the men of Judah and among the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Ezekiel 22 verse 25. There is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion ravening the prey. They have devoured souls, and they have taken the treasures and precious things. They have made her many widows in the midst thereof. Acts 23 verse 13. And they were more than 40 which had made this conspiracy. The conspiracy was what? The word conspiracy means to come together. Con meaning with, and spiracy or spire or conspire means to breathe together, to come on the same accord, for usually a wicked act. So there was these 40 Israelites that said they weren't going to eat until they killed King David, killed the Apostle Paul, which they couldn't get him, so they had to keep that vow. Doesn't go into details as to what they actually did, if they died off one by one. That's a hell of a thing. You said we ain't gonna eat nothing until we kill this guy. You find out you can't kill him a year later, or so many months later, you're gonna die, unless you broke that vow that you made, that conspiracy that you made. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.